look at how do we add fractions with like denominators, right? So this is recapping stuff that maybe you find easy or found easy or not, right? So let's look at fractions with like denominators. Now remember, whenever you have a fraction, the number at the top is a numerator and the number at the bottom is your denominator. And when we have like denominators, the denominators are the same. Like 1 over 6, 2 over 6, or 3 over 8, and 5 over 8. These are like denominators. And when we take those two numbers, like 1 over 6 plus 2 over 6, and add them, what we have to do is, remember, we only add the numbers at the top. So we take 1 and 2, and we only add those numbers up. So 1 plus 2 will become 3, and 3 over 6 will equal, after we simplify, because we can divide the top and the bottom by 3, to become, aha. If I've got 3 over 8 plus 5 over 8, then this becomes 8 over 8. 8 over 8 is equal to 1 whole. So when we have fractions with like denominators, it's pretty simple. All we have to do is add the number at the top, add the numbers at the top, and keep the numbers at the bottom. The same. Let's suppose we have a few examples. I've got 1 over 8 plus 3 over 8. I've got 5 over 7 plus 1 over 7 plus 2 over 7. I've got 11 over 9 plus 12 over 9. In this first question, we just take 1 plus 3, which is 4. It becomes 4 over 8. But this answer is not complete. We have to continue. And so we will divide the top and the bottom by a number that can divide into both. And that would be 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. So that's 1 over 2. For the next one, I got 5 plus 1, which is 6. And 6 plus 2 is 8. So for this one, it will be 8 over 7. This is an improper fraction, and so we can change it into a mixed number. And in order to change it into a mixed number, we have to say 8 divided by 7. How many times can 7 go into 8? Well, we know 7 plus 1 equals 8. So only one 7 can fit inside it, which means that we have one 7 that can fit inside there, but we have a remainder of 1 which we put on top of 7 as a fraction. Let's have a look at the next one. This is 11 plus 12, which is going to be 23 over 9. Here we have another improper fraction. Alright, so improper fraction is this one here, and that over there is a mixed number. Alright, let's just make a quick note of that. So that over there is known as a mixed number, because it's got a whole number and a fraction, whereas this one has just a fraction. I've got an improper fraction of here. 9 goes into here 2 times. Okay. 9 will go into here 2 times. And the remainder will be 5 out of 9. Two times 9 is 18. 18 plus 5 is 23. So 2 and 5 over 9 would be the answer. How do we do that? We know 9 plus 9 is 18. 18 plus 5 equals 23. So that's going to be 2 wholes. That's where that comes in. And that's the remainder that goes there. And the 9 stays where it was, just like the 7 stays where it was. We can also subtract fractions like this. It would also work in the same way. I got 11 over 8 and I minus 3 over 8. I got 14 over 7 and I minus 1 over 7. I got 143 over 55 and I minus 10 over 55. All I have to do is subtract the numbers at the top. This will be 11 minus 3 over 8, which is 8 over 8. And remember, 8 can divide by 8, which is 1 whole. 14 minus 1 over 7 will become 13 over 7. And 17 going to 13 once, my remainder is 6. And we put it over the same number 7 as a fraction. So that's what's left as a part of 7. It's not completely a whole number, because it can't be, because it has to be 7 or more to become 1. It has to be 7 to be a whole number, but it's not. So the remainder is 6 out of the remaining 7 parts. Okay? Alright, now 143 minus 10 over 55. What do we notice in each case? The denominator is the same. 143 minus 10 will be 133 over 55. Now 55 can go into it 2 times, which will give you 110. 110 plus 23, right, would mean that if I had to go 55 plus 55, that's 110. 110 plus 23 would be 133. So this is going to be my remainder. And so that's the number that we would put over 55 when we convert it into a mixed number. That's mixed. That's mixed. This is known as an improper fraction. This is an improper fraction as well. All right. Let's go to the case now where we add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators. So in this case, if I have 1 over 3 plus 1 over 2, the denominators are not the same. So we cannot add it. We can't do that. We can only do that if we can get these two numbers the same. So how do we do that? If I look at 3 and 2 and find a number that can divide into 3 and 2, what number can divide into 3 and that same number divide into 2? That would be 6. That would also be 12. So let's choose one of them. Let's choose the lowest one. We call this the lowest common multiple. We take that lowest common multiple, which is 6, and let's say we change this fraction into a denominator with 6 without changing the actual fraction, which means that I would have to multiply this by 2 and multiply this by 2, which means I'm actually keeping it as 2 out of 6. Now think about that, right? If you've got 1 out of 3, and you draw another line, breaking it into 6 parts, it's the same as 2 out of 6. Let me show you that again. So that's 1 out of 3, which is the same as 2 out of 6. So these are equivalent fractions, right? That's an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 6. Now the reason I did that is because I want to get the denominators to be the same so I can add numerators. That's the catch, right? Because if the denominators are the same, then we're back here. We can add and subtract. But at the moment, the denominator is not the same. So I need to make it the same. So I'm going to multiply this by 3. And when I multiply the denominator by 3, I multiply the numerator by 3, because in that way, I'm keeping the fraction the same. So if you got a half, that's half, right? And if I divide it into 3 spaces, on that side and 3 spaces on that side, it'll be a total of 6 spaces. It's the same as 3 out of 6. And 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6. Now we can see the denominators are the same. Let's add the numerator. So 2 plus 3 will equal 5, and so that will become 5 over 6. Let's go through all of that in a much more quicker way. We got this question, what did we do? Let's do it in a just more quicker way. Multiply by 2, multiply by 3. Do the same at the top. Multiply by 2, multiply by 3. These two must be the same. Write the fractions again. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. So it'll be 5 over 6. There we go. Let's have a look at another example. Let's suppose I've got 3 over 7 plus 4 over 9. Here, I'm going to multiply the left-hand side by 9. In this side, I'm going to multiply by 7. And I'm going to do the same at the top. You could do this every single time. But if you do get to a solution like 50 or 60, for example, make sure you simplify. 3 times 9 is going to be 27. Over 7 times 9, which is 63. 4 times 7 is 28. And 9 times 7 is 63. 27 plus 28 is going to get me 7 plus 8 is 15. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, so that's 55. So this will be 55 over 63. We can't simplify this further, but if we could, we should. And so that's the final answer there. Let's do another round of these. Let's suppose I've got 3 over 4 plus 4 over 5. 5 over 6 plus 6 over 7. 6 over 7, that's times. Oops. Plus 6 over 7. 6 over 7 plus 7 over 8. Here we go. 4 and 5. I'm going to use the multiply this by 5, multiply this by 5, multiply this by 4, multiply this by 4. There we go. 15 over 20 plus 16 over 20 is 31 over 20, which can be written as a mixed number, 1 remainder 11 out of 20. Over here, I'm going to multiply this by 7, multiply by 7, multiply it by 6, multiply it by 6. This will become 42. That'll be 35. That'll be 42. That'll be 36. And this will equal 35 plus 36. Let's calculate it quickly somewhere. 5 plus 6 is 11. 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So it's 71 over 42. 71 divides into 42 once. And if I subtract it, I will get my remainder. Borrow. 11 minus 2 is 9. 6 minus 4 is 2. So the remainder is 29 out of 42 for that one. For the next one, I'm going to multiply this by 8, multiplying this by 8 as well, multiplying this by 7, multiplying this by 7. Notice I'm multiplying that number there and there. And I'm multiplying this number there and there. 6 times 8 is 48, 7 times 7 is 49, 8 times 7 is 56. 48 and 49. 8 plus 9 is 7, and it becomes 97 over 56. 56 can go into 97 at once, and so the remainder will be 97 minus 56. 7 minus 6 is 1, 9 minus 5 is 4, and that becomes 41 over 56. Sometimes you can simplify these fractions as well. Just look out if you can. You might need to.